Hey folks, have you been camping lately? Well, I don't mean the kind with room service. I'm talking about tents, campers, or those creaky old RVs. Hi, I'm Liz and I'm back with a real life story from behind my bifocals. Let's start out with a friend that I was dating. Well, that's for another video, but suffice to say, he was a disaster waiting to happen. After this experience that I'll explain as I go, I I can't figure even for the life of me why we're even still talking, but I digress. So let's get on with the story. It was a hot summer, a couple of years ago, I guess, and we were both mind mapping, if you've ever heard of that. Throwing out different ideas into the universe. I should have really been suspicious when mind mapping came up. You know, our minds have grown a wee bit weedy with age, and I don't mean dandelions. I had to throw that in there. Well, since we both like to try different things, well, he suggested perhaps we could go camping, get out of Ontario here in Canada, for those of you that don't know that, and go down to the East Coast. I love the East Coast. Some of the best scenery and people, people that live on the East Coast here in Canada, the greatest people. Anyway, he said it wouldn't cost a cent as he had a camper that was in storage at the moment. The kind he could tag along behind his truck. And with a wee bit of cleaning, he said, it would fit to go anywhere we wanted to go, anywhere we pleased. Well, sounded good, except this tent camper hadn't seen the light of day for 10 years. He had to get it out of storage amongst trees on a farm. But before he could, he had to cut down 2 trees so the wee thing could move between. Well, he had tarps and like plastic on the top to protect it. But as he pulled the darn thing out of its hole, more like a grave, anyway, some of the branches, scraped the tarps and they disintegrated. I should have bolted then. Well, as I looked at this rusty bucket on wheels, I asked if it was usable. Stared at it. One good sneeze would have collapsed the whole thing. He frowned and insisted it was in beautiful shape. Why, he said he'd only had it for 42 years. The stench that boogied up to my large nostrils almost knocked me into the next week. I swear it had attitude. I staggered back just as a mystery bug shot past my face, like it was trying to escape Alcatraz. And as I twisted my head to avoid, getting a bug, wait a minute, I got to fix my head here, getting bug smacked, I noticed something, out of the corner of my eye sailing off to the side. Well, it was what looked like a mouse. Although, how the heck something, that actually breathed could survive in that bucket of balls? Well, I'll never know. Anyway, my mouth froze in a silent scream when I finally thawed. My whole body was vibrating like a human tuning fork. Well, you can imagine what it would be like, seeing a mouse or something fly over the side. Well, anyway, he took my shaking body in his arms and assured me, we wouldn't go anywhere before we aired it out. Really? Aired? Well, no fresh air would ever put the run on that smell, I whimpered. He said that all would be well. I just had to trust him. So to do that, he hooked it on like to the back of the truck and towed it, the darn thing, home and parked it on his front lawn. He opened it up to the fresh air and cleaned up the mouse droppings and it looked like cobwebs to me, but what would I know? Could be anything in that thing. Anyway, he decided we should have a practice run by camping in that night. Well, I don't know. Anyway, he would air it out all day, and what with the smell of the cleaning fluids, it would be right as rain, he said. Well, wasn't that annoying? And then that night, he would start a fire in his little stove out the front, and we could roast marshmallows. And even hot dogs. Well, I felt a bit safe with that, knowing my home was close by in case I needed to escape. Premonitions, yes. Ever the optimist. I got the marshmallows, hot dogs ready. I went and got the wood to build the fire and got my jammies and house coat on and made up the beds, all ready to go. I pictured, and I bet you could too, the total relaxation of it all, sitting in front of a roaring fire, sticks with marshmallows and wieners. It reminded me of the olden days. I felt so safe and so warm. All I had now to do was to wait for him, to start the fire. I think my mind must have been fantasizing too much. It started to rain, lightly, and there were like a few drippings coming from inside. I shouted that the rain was coming inside, and he yelled that whatever I did, do not touch the tarp. Well, it was really old, made out of Egyptian cotton or something. And if I touched it, it might fall apart. Oh my gosh. Before I could say a thing, he got inside and said, not to worry. He knew exactly what to do. This is becoming a pattern, don't you think? Well, I helped him throw a bright orange tarp over the top of the tent, a part held by clothes pegs. Well, he assured me that would do the trick. I just had to give it a minute as I tried to dodge the rain now pouring into the tent, immediately drenching my jammies and my house coat. Oh, can you imagine? By now, I knew the night was ruined. The covers were soaked. My temper was boiling, and I was 2 seconds away from declaring war on camping. And wouldn't you know it, he kept saying we could still have a campfire, after the rain subsided. He said, wait, he had this solution. Oh, here we go. And in he brought this wee heater that he said he had for a number of years, something like the 40-year-old camper, and never had the occasion to use it to this point. But it would dry everything out, he said, in no time. Well, he turned the thing on and, blessed heat came blowing over me. No sooner did I begin to bask in the warmth, and the darn thing cut out. Surprise, surprise. Darn was the only thing he said. I don't know what's wrong with this, he said. The guy at the garage sale swore it worked. Guess I should have tried it, before this. That was his comments. Just then it came back on and then proceeded to come on and off, on and off. He told me he'd have it fixed before we ever went camping. Really? Hey, I wasn't born yesterday. I knew the gods were telling me to run and run fast. as I peeled out of there, heater, waving in my rearview mirror like a sad little goodbye flag. I didn't feel a lick of guilt, not even a lick of guilt. A hot shower, dry pajamas, and my soft bed were waiting at home. And as I drifted off, I pictured him alone, with his soggy marshmallows and limp wieners, probably trying to patch that ancient tarp with duct tape. And of course, prayer. You need a lot of that. Well, maybe camping and I we're just not meant to be. Let's just say next time someone says camping, I'm checking if they mean, the Holiday Inn or some fancy hotel. And no, we didn't make it out of Ontario. Heck, we didn't even make it off the front lawn. I wonder why. Got a camping horror story of your own? I'd love to hear it in the comments below. And please let me know. How was your week? I so enjoy doing this. I hope you're enjoying my little stories. Meanwhile, take care, keep smiling, and I'll see you the next time for another misadventure. Bye for now.